Saturday, hundreds of people gather at Sycamore High School to remember the life of late DeKalb County Sheriff's Deputy Christina Mussel, who was killed while on duty exactly 1 year ago. WIFR reporter Alyssa Kelly attends the vigil, witnessing the support from her coworkers, friends, and community members.
Anthony, it was an emotional and beautiful vigil Saturday. It included words from officials about the impact she had on people's life and how her legacy will live on forever.
Because she will never be forgotten. Her service and her sacrifice will never be forgotten.
This is just one way the community remembers Christina Mussel, a 35-year-old DeKalb County Sheriff deputy killed in a drunken driving crash a year ago.
There's not a day that goes by that we don't think about Christina and the loss that we feel.
DeKalb County Sheriff Andy Sullivan says Christina was on a stationary patrol when her squad car was struck in the back by a truck. She later died from her injuries at a nearby hospital. Sullivan says she was a selfless hero who's created a lasting legacy.
Her warmth, kindness, and unwavering dedication to those around her left an indelible mark that time cannot erase.
Christina served in the Corrections and Patrol Divisions, the Army National Guard, and in Afghanistan. But Sullivan explained she was so much more.
That she was an outstanding mother. She's a terrific daughter, a sister, and a friend to so many people. She always had a smile on her face, and she had an amazing laugh that once you heard her laugh, it was just contagious. And she was an absolutely gem of a human being.
Hundreds of people attended Saturday's vigil. This is something Michael McTighe with Illinois Cops puts together for family who lost a loved one in the line of duty. It's a way to remember their legacy, including Christina's.
It's important for us to make sure their memories stay relevant to people, because what they did, their sacrifices, was too much already.
McTighe tells me Sheriff Andy Sullivan, along with 6 others from DeKalb County, will be participating in Cycle Across Illinois, biking more than 400 miles in honor of Christina.
That event will take place on July 12th at Northern Illinois University. Attendees will then bike from NIU to the city of Chicago.